share it. And
Well, and I remembered you said that to put the phone on airplane.
oh, that's good. I'm not sure I remembered to do that.
Well, and I remember.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Let me just uh, get this shared and we can begin to talk. There we go. It takes me a minute to see it. I suppose on the back side of this. Oops. Best laid plans. Okay. All right. Well, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're doing some of these things this year back to back. Thank you for giving us the grace of the few minutes for us to get this, for me to get this sorted out. But I want to welcome my good friend, Linda Heller. Linda, you're out in California, so it's early morning for you. It's a
It
little
is.
mid-morning for me. Yes. And this is a beautiful thing that you're offering us on Christmas Day.
Well, I feel that you've created a doorway or a window, and it's an opportunity. Um, and it invites me to reflect and appreciate and kind of walk a road of remembrance.
Walk a road of remembrance. That's a nice road to walk.
It is. And when we talked originally about doing this, and you said, "What do you want to talk about?" And I was thinking, I don't know. And it just came out of my mouth. It wasn't like I thought about it. I'm writing a book about it. It wasn't like anything like that. It just, that out comes the gift of loss. And I suppose because this past year has been, if one could term it, a year of loss. So, and this time of year is kind of piles those experiences and remembrances as I walk that road. So 30 years ago, this time of year, my mother passed. 10 years ago, in this fall winter season, my dearest friend passed. Last year, my friend and mentor, and if you would, my second mom even passed at almost 101. And 2 weeks later, my daughter died unexpectedly. And as a person whose birth family is smaller than some, as an only child, and I married an only child, and I had an only child, and I would say, so anyway, it would be easy to get into the story of loss. and it would really be very easy to stay there. And something you shared a couple of days ago, we talked about it on Friday, when you were sharing your experience after your first divorce. And as I was, I had no idea what you were going to share. And when I heard it, it was as if instantly I was back to my own experience the first Christmas after my divorce, when my daughter chose to spend Christmas with her father and his parents, and waking up in a home that had the tree and all the decorations and no child. So it was me and the tree, it's like, and so it was nothing of the story that we tell ourselves about Christmas. And I remembered feeling very lonely. And, even when divorce is amicable and everyone's very civilized, divorce is like a death too, in my experience anyway, because the dream dies. And you're left kind of picking up the pieces and making something new. And I thought, as I was thinking about this opportunity that you offer to those who listen and to those of us who share, that it's such a great moment to go back and walk that road again with more awareness than I walked it the first time. And so I think about the choices that you make when you experience loss, and how it's easy to stay there. The grief it can be big and dramatic, or it can be kind of quiet and pervasive, and almost so subtle you wouldn't even know you're grieving. There's just kind of, as we were talking about before we got started, it's as if there's kind of an anesthetic applied to living.
Mm.
So the grief isn't dramatic like in the movies. You're not rending your hair and clothes and going around sobbing. Could be, but often it's more of that anesthetic. Life just gets grayer. It's not so bright. It's not, and you keep going. You don't give up. You keep moving forward, but you can't find that brightness, that kind of bubbliness, joyousness of living. And so I recognized that I had done that for myself. And that the loss, that for me, the gift of the loss, if you would, it's that opportunity to build something new.
Mm.
Because loss leaves a huge space. There's an emptiness there that the person who's gone isn't filling it anymore. You've got your memories, but it's not the same. And so what I experienced was there's there was a temptation, a comfort to stay there in the loss, to surround and fill myself with the stories about what was. And sometimes telling myself all the stories of what I didn't do, that I could have done,
Mm.
you know, the temptation of regret. But loss in a funny way is like cleaning a house. It leaves this huge empty space. And so the gift is, what do I want to fill it with? And I suppose I did, you know, spend some time filling it with the remembrances, you know, of the moments, of the things I could have done better, of the things left unsaid that I wish I'd said or done. But after a while, it's like playing a record, you know, that gets stuck and it's playing the same thing over and over again. And I realized I chose not to go forward like that. That for me, it was important to find a different choice. So instead, I've chosen to look at the loss as creating a space for me to build something new.
Mm.
Not better, simply different. And so I have a choice. I can stay in the middle of my memories feeling alone, or I can choose to move forward and create, if you would, a new family and new connections. And so are they the same? No. And do they have the same sense of obligation that most of our blood kind of relationships do by birth? No, at least not for me. But I feel as if in some ways that loss created a space to build something new. And the something new is more open and free of obligation.
Mm.
So I don't feel as if I have to do anything for Christmas or for Easter or, you know, for anything. And, you know, whether I see any of my new family or not, it doesn't matter, because they live with me in this new space that I've created. And my feeling of support and connection is not dependent upon a phone call or a present or a card. So I think about people who feel so alone this time of year and who feel lonely in that aloneness. So I'm alone. However, I don't feel lonely. And I feel very, for me, the holiday season is really, what would you call it? It's kind of a a created artificial moment in time that invites me to consciously be grateful,
Mm.
even more than I am on a daily basis, to really be grateful. So, you know, I have, if you would, I got adopted by my best friend's son's mixed family when he remarried. So he remarried a woman with 3 boys, and he had a daughter. And I often tell this story because for me, there is a power in stories. But when my friend's son was dying, he was in the intensive care unit at Stanford University. So I had driven up to be with the family, and I said I would stay at the house and take care of the animals and do all that stuff so they could go. And the youngest son said to me, "Well, you're coming with us, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, Carson, he's in ICU, and that's only family can go." And he said, "But you are family."
Mhm.
He was maybe 14. Not what you expect from the adolescent mouth of a 14-year-old boy. And so they call me grandma. I'm not by association or birth, but I am in terms of what they choose to give me as a place in their family.
And your love and devotion to them that recognizes.
Yes. And so the first time when I first would introduce them, because they'll introduce me as their grandma. And so I would introduce them as my adopted grandchildren. And then I thought, no, we're going to get rid of the word adopted. They just are. So his daughter came down. She's going to live with me for 6 months, and which I'm very excited about. So she was getting ready to leave, and my neighbor from across the street, I live in one of those neighborhoods where people are talking to each other across the street from one yard to another and things like that. So I introduced her and I said, "This is my granddaughter." And I knew she was thinking, but I know that her daughter died and her daughter didn't have any kids. So, but she didn't ask, so I didn't elaborate. And, but I thought about, I have loss. My daughter's gone. And all the stories about that don't change it.
Yeah.
And I know that you too know what that's like. And so it seems to me that we either stay there in that kind of gray place of loss, and we anesthetize ourselves in that loss. And we look at what we don't have. Our partner's gone, our child's gone, our friend's gone. Or we can choose to fill that space with something else. So whether it's in engagement in an activity or a cause or other people, or it's a choice. So even loss creates an opportunity, creates a space for choice. And I guess if I had anything I wanted people who were feeling lonely or alone to think about, not only during this time, but every day, is that that's always available to us, always. No matter how bad it is, no matter how alone you are, you can create connection and meaning and value. It's a choice. So where do we want to live? And so I appreciate my friends and my work give me, and my joy of gardening, they give me that, they fill that space. They were there in life anyway, but now they've taken a bigger space in my life. And you move forward. You know, it's like, I don't know. There was a thing. I always love synchronicity. So as I was getting ready, I had put the link in Facebook so I could find it easily. Well, wouldn't you know? You know how Facebook will say, remember on this date, you said such and such.
Yes.
So it popped up something and I thought, oh, I want to read it to Jeannie today. So wouldn't you know, I closed the screen out and now it's gone. So I'm going to find myself paraphrasing. In essence, what it said was that there's a difference. There's letting go and there's giving up. So when you give up, you're closing the door. You're eliminating the possibilities. And when you let go, it's as if you're opening the door. You're creating the space.
Yes.
To make something new. And I guess that would be my holiday wish for everyone. That in this time where we promote the fairy tale story of what family is like, and most of us didn't have families like that. We just wish we did. You know, Jimmy Stewart and all that stuff, and Miracle on 49th Street. So, is to recognize that you can make your life whatever you want. Maybe not the story of what you told yourself it was going to look like. But when you let go, when loss creates that emptiness, it's like it's an opportunity to paint a new picture.
Mm.
And even for those of us who don't think we're artists, we can still paint a new and lovely picture for ourselves.
Artists of life.
Yeah.
Artists of the moment.
Absolutely. And so that would be my prayer for everyone, is to let go of loneliness and ask, what kind of life do you want for yourself? And start choosing that. So that does mean, though, that if you're saying, well, I don't like to be by myself at Christmas, well, then what are you going to do about it? You can't just sit there and blithely wish, I want someone to call me. I want someone to invite me to dinner. I want someone, you know, you got to do something if that's what's important to you. And if you have no family, make a family. You know, become involved with other people, care about other people, do something for other people. Christmas is a lovely time of year to do that.
It is.
You know, that focus on giving.
And there's also a cultural or societal pause
Ah.
where we give ourselves, where we're given permission because the post office is closed, right?
And
No
most
mail
of the
delivery,
stores are closed.
right? So there's all these little like
Yep.
subliminal messages that, oh, this is important, right?
Take a pause.
Take a pause. And we both know the power of presence,
Yes.
because it's in the present that we can create a new step.
Yes. And, I'm reminded every time we get together of the power. Sometimes you find those connections in unexpected places. And so when there are opportunities to do new things or to say yes, you won't have a guarantee about what it's going to look like,
No guarantee.
but if you don't try, you'll never know.
Yes. Yes. Action is
And
a very important component
it is.
in any part of creation.
And sometimes you just never know. I think about how the biggest, richest changes in my life did not come because I knew what was going to come next. They came because an opportunity knocked on the door and I opened it and I said, come on in. I had no idea what was walking through or what I was going to, but and those were not characteristic of me.
Mm.
I tended to be more if I was to tell a story about who I used to be, it would be a person who had a lot of comfort and routine, who did things that way because she did them that way the day before and the day before that. And get new friends? No, the ones I've got are just fine. It's like, no, I like it just the way it is. And so usually I said yes after many times of saying no. And I've never been sorry I said yes, not once. Did it turn out the way I expected it to? No, not very often, actually.
I think one of the beauties of being down the road of taking action and saying yes is the one thing that is that there's just a point where you release expectation. You
Yeah.
just actually imbibe in the spirit of the moment and you allow it. You allow the moment to reveal the gift that it's bringing you that wasn't on your Christmas list. It's just,
It wasn't. And have you ever recognized in yourself, at least what I've noticed in me, is sometimes I expect to see something. So when I look, that's what I see.
yes.
And every once in a while, like I'll come around the corner in my garden or whatever, and I'm taken by surprise
Yes.
of the plant that sent up new blooms
Yes.
where there was nothing before. And it's like, oh, look at that. And the surprise of the unexpected. And so I think it's important in our looking for that doorway and looking for that next step that we don't get too strict a view about what it's got to look like,
Mm,
you know?
yes. That's beautiful. We
So
could go on and on.
I know we could.
And I have another segment to do and to prepare for, but honestly, but you're back tonight. I was with Paige just before you, and you and
Yvonne,
Paige and Yvonne and me are going
and
to
you.
wrap up with a panel, which was your suggestion. Well,
I'm excited and
the
it's
construct
new.
was, what's that?
I said, it's new. It's totally new.
Yes.
I'm
And I have
excited.
no attachment to the outcome. So yeah. And it's
Well,
kind of
no,
like that
it's,
with every one of these conversations. I know the direction, but there's
no.
no attachment. It just
Well, and I thought about it. Do I make notes? And I know that with you, conversations are always completely organic. So it's like, I
they
just
are.
trust that it's going to go where it's
Oh,
going to
it's
go.
beautiful. Well, you shared a lot of very um applicable wisdoms.
Well,
I thank you.
it's fertile ground whenever we're together.
Thank you so much.
So
Well,
I'll look forward to seeing you tonight.
yes, absolutely. And thank you again. And again, Merry Christmas. And to
The
all who
same to
are
you.
watching this, whenever you're watching it, even if it's not on Christmas Day, Merry Christmas.
That's right.
Because
It's
I
still a
think
gift.
it's
Thank you,
still a
Jean.
gift. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
See you tonight.
Thanks.